Hey everybody, it's Ron, and I want to tell you a story about business and how that story changed everything. Picture this. It's today, July 13th, 2026, and you're standing in MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the venue that for this week is being called New York, New Jersey Stadium for the duration of an important tournament. 82,500 seats are waiting to be filled. Camera platforms are going up. Sponsor installations are being wrapped around every surface. In 6 days, 2 national teams will walk out onto that pitch and play for the FIFA World Cup, the championship of what most of the world calls football and what we in the United States call soccer. Both words trace back to the same place. England, 1863, when the Football Association wrote down the rules of association football and university students started shortening it to soccer. We kept the nickname, most of the world didn't. Either way, same sport. We don't know which 2 teams will be out on the pitch, but we do know what's at stake. Television rights worth billions. Sponsorship deals that dwarf the economies of some of the countries still in the tournament. A single ticket to the final selling on the secondary market for around $33,000. And hovering over all of it, a set of questions that nobody has fully answered. What happens when a Somali referee named Omar Artan, appointed by FIFA, the international body that governs global soccer, and named Africa's Referee of the Year, gets turned away at the U.S. border and can't do his job? What happens when players and supporters can't get into host countries at all? What happens when FIFA stops play in the middle of a match so television broadcasters can finish their commercial breaks? Some of these aren't new questions. To understand where they come from, though, we need to go back to a city called Montevideo, the capital of Uruguay, 94 years ago this very day, on a cold July 13th morning in 1930. From Business Basics, I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the daily podcast where we explain the stories that changed business forever. Every date on the calendar has a story where business reshaped the world. Today, July 13th, that story takes us to 1930. The first World Cup. In the late 1920s, Jules Rimet, the French president of FIFA, soccer's international governing body, he had a problem. The sport he loved was played in almost every country on Earth, but it had no world championship. The Olympics included soccer, but FIFA wanted something it owned outright. Its own event, its own commercial structure, its own moment. Several European countries had expressed interest in hosting, but when the moment came to commit, every one of them withdrew. The rights went to the only country still standing, Uruguay, a small South American nation whose national team had won Olympic gold in Paris in 1924 and again in Amsterdam in 1928. In exchange for the hosting rights, Uruguay offered to pay travel and accommodation costs for every participating team. That's easy to read as generosity. It was a commercial investment, the same logic that drives cities to spend billions bidding for the tournament today. Getting teams to show up that first time was harder than expected. Most European nations refused the 3-week sea voyage. England wasn't even a FIFA member. Only 4 European countries made the trip: France, Belgium, Romania, and Yugoslavia. Romania's King Carol II personally guaranteed his players their jobs so that their employers couldn't fire them for going. 13 teams total, 7 from South America, 4 from Europe, 2 from North America. On July 13, 1930, the first 2 World Cup matches kicked off simultaneously in Montevideo, and the world didn't particularly even notice. At the Estadio Pocitos Stadium, France defeated Mexico 4-1 in front of 4,444 people, with a midfielder named Lucien Laurent scoring the first goal in World Cup history in the 19th minute of a match that most of Europe had declined to attend. Across town, the United States defeated Belgium 3-0, part of a run that would see them finish third in the tournament, still the best result an American team has ever produced in the World Cup. The final, played on July 30th between Uruguay and Argentina, drew 68,000 people and enough tension that neither team trusted the other's equipment. Each half was played with a different ball. Argentina's in the first, Uruguay's in the second. Uruguay won 4-2 and became the first World Cup champion in history. What FIFA had in Montevideo in 1930 was proof of a concept. 13 teams, no television, no global broadcast rights, travel costs underwritten by the host. What they had stumbled into was something more valuable than anyone understood at the time. One event every 4 years. The best national teams in the world competing for a single title on a stage that existed nowhere else. Scarcity, concentration, and global relevance. 3 ingredients that compound in ways that are almost impossible to stop. Television turned the proof of concept into a commercial engine. The 1954 World Cup in Bern, Switzerland, was the first to be televised. By Mexico in 1986, the global audience had crossed 1 billion people, and the broadcast rights fees that began as modest national deals had grown into one of the most valuable media properties on Earth. Sponsorship followed. Host city investment followed. The geopolitical stakes of winning the bid followed. And with the commercial value came the governance problem. The vote to award World Cup hosting rights had become one of the most consequential decisions in global sport, worth billions in tourism, infrastructure, and national prestige to whoever won it. An organization controlling that much value, with a membership structure that concentrated power in the hands of the people supposed to provide oversight, was an accountability failure waiting to happen. As we discussed in detail in our June 2nd episode from this year, in May 2015, the U.S. Department of Justice indicted 14 current and former FIFA officials as part of a 24-year bribery scheme worth over $150 million. The organization that started by paying 13 teams boat fare to Uruguay had become a vehicle for systematic corruption at the highest levels. By 2026, the tournament FIFA built from that 1930 proof of concept will generate more than $7 billion for the 4-year cycle. It will have 48 teams, 104 matches, and 16 cities across 3 countries will host. The 2026 World Cup arrived with more teams, more matches, more money, and more complications than any tournament in the event's history. As I mentioned, Omar Artan, a Somali referee appointed by FIFA and named Africa's Referee of the Year, was denied entry by U.S. border officials at Miami International Airport and removed from the tournament before a single match was played. Ghana's Thomas Partey was denied entry into Canada for his team's opening match. A Senegalese supporters delegation was denied U.S. visas entirely, leaving thousands of fans unable to attend matches their team had qualified to play in. And in the tournament's opening match, FIFA held players on the field during what was introduced for the first time in history as a cooling break, which coincidentally gave television broadcasters time to finish their commercial breaks. But the timing of that break wasn't perfect. some viewers at home missed the restart entirely because the ads ran long. A lot of changes and controversy, but those things are not new for FIFA. In 1930, Egypt was supposed to participate in the first World Cup, but missed their boat connection in Marseille, France, due to a storm, and they never arrived. Access problems have existed since the tournament began. What has changed is the scale of what's at stake when they happen. The structure FIFA built, from 13 teams and a handshake deal on travel expenses, now generates billions per cycle and draws more cumulative viewers than any other event in human history. The scarcity model, one championship every 4 years, winner takes everything, turned out to be one of the most powerful commercial structures ever built around a sport. Nobody planned it that way in Montevideo in 1930. Jules Rimet just wanted FIFA to own its moment. The commercial logic did the rest, and in 6 days, 82,500 people will pack into a stadium in New Jersey to watch the final of a tournament that started with 4,444 people watching France play Mexico on a cold July morning in Uruguay on July 13, 1930. I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the podcast that finds the turning points behind the headlines. To hear more stories like this, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. And if you're enjoying the stories, don't forget to subscribe and leave a quick review. It helps more people find the story behind the business. And if you want to actually understand business better without the fluff or the buzzwords or the MBA language, start by visiting us at businessdailypodcast.com.